Okay, everybody, don't be shy. Feel free to tell me you also loved Runaways as much as I did. Go ahead. Note to self, insert crickets. Runaways, am I right? Remember the Hulu series? No, you don't? Okay, I loved it. Yeah, I thought it was great. If you haven't seen it, there's good news for you. It's still on Hulu. It's actually on Disney Plus as well. 3 seasons. It ends very satisfactory, even though there's some leftover story that they could explore in the future, which brings me to today's topic. We might be seeing the return of the Runaways. So if you haven't watched The Runaways, the premise was pretty simple. A bunch of teens find out that their parents are actually supervillains working for this giant mega cult, or have their own scheming crime empires, if you will. They decide to all confront their parents, and then they become runaways because, well, they're caught up in the middle of this witchcraft, sorcery, raising the dead, foreign gods from space. Look, it's pretty insane. They pretty much did the best they could with adapting the comic, and they do a phenomenal job. I highly recommend it. Well, one of the main characters in the series, and yes, I would say they are all equal characters because they all get equal footing and equal billing, and they're all phenomenal in my opinion, was Nico, who is somebody that's Wiccan, and also the staff we see here actually made a cameo in the Doctor Strange film. It's the Staff of One, and she uses this. There's actually even callbacks to more Doctor Strange things, like when she uses it, how she starts becoming almost like Caecilius did in Doctor Strange. You can see it around her eyes. And they outright even mention giant plot points and things going on in the MCU, so it could fit. The good news we recently heard is the fact that there's some discussion and possible even development moving forward that the witchcraft slash mystical slash darkhold magical side of everything in the MCU is going to expand, and that Nico is being looked at as a possible series. Now, whether this would be a direct continuation with the same actress, which I would hope it is, because it legit looks like they just ripped her straight from the comic. Like, the attitude, how she comes off, everything is pretty much perfect. Kind of makes sense to me. And we also see that Nico is getting a giant push forward in the upcoming Midnight Suns game, which again, that makes sense. They clearly want this character. When Marvel does things like this, they always tend to put the characters front and center in comics, video games, and other properties so they can kind of get the awareness out there. Now, a Nico series would be interesting because if it's technically a continuation of Runaways, you could make for awesome cameos, but also you could tie it to things like the upcoming Agatha Harkness. And of course, Runaways already dealt with Morgan Le Fay, which, good God, that was intense for all sorts of reasons. So, I mean, look, I am quite clearly a fan of these characters. The Runaways run, the original Runaways run, is in my top 10 Marvel runs of all time. It's absolutely amazing, and I highly recommend it. So seeing these characters return, and Nico, who is honestly my favorite character from the series, would be so welcome. And I hope that this is something that they continue to explore, and I think it's honestly a perfect series to kind of reintroduce the fans to the world of the Runaways and a more grounded type teen, if you will, or maybe at this point she would be like a college student approach to the MCU skewed towards a younger audience, because the budget wouldn't even have to be that high. Hence why the Runaways was actually able to pull off a lot, and then when they needed the actual budget on the dinosaur that they ran around with, well, it worked. Yeah, look, if you didn't watch it, they have a pet that hangs out with them that's a velociraptor. Just go watch it.